Good morning, everybody. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and you are listening to God, Sex, and Love. Your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. It is January the 7th, 2025, and today the topic is what really matters, dealing with distractions. Happy Tuesday. Yes, happy Tuesday, everybody, and happy New Year. Happy New Year here on the GSL platform. This is the first juice of 2025, and I'm excited and glad and grateful to be here. Yeah, man, last time I talked to y'all, I don't think it was Christmas yet, right? So I'm back. Don't worry and don't get me wrong. I've missed you, right? I think I've been getting spanked by the two biggest influences in my life, my mom and my husband. They both, I guess they feel like they're holding me accountable with this juice thing. And so again, y'all know that I'm going to address it, but I'm also going to do, right, what the Lord is leading me to do. So basically, just a reminder, right? The whole situation that's going on with the not as frequent juices is that basically, I haven't felt led to share the things that I've been receiving. I still study in the mornings. I still, I've been getting a lot of dreams. All of that stuff still has been going and flowing, but I feel like that stuff has been for me. It's been a lot of things that have poured into me in my life in particular that I didn't necessarily feel led to share. So that's what's happening. Like, it's not that I don't want to come every day, right? It's not that I don't want to continue what I have been doing since April 1st, 2020. But at the same time, I'm like, listen, your girl was doing a lot of consistent work since then. And so honestly, again, there's thousands of juices, you know what I'm saying? Like, you guys could start all the way back at the beginning and probably get, I don't know, whatever the Lord wants you to get. But they both have brought it up to be like, hey, hey, Miracle, you know what I'm saying? What about those people that want daily new juice? And I'm like, but what does the Lord want me to do at the end of the day, So that's what it's about as well. Plus, I'm inspired, man. I got a lot of, good ideas and things like that I want to bring to the GSL platform. I'm answering you guys' requests because you guys say y'all want more personal growth content. And so that's something that I have in the works, as well as, obviously keeping up with what's going on with Allie. We can't forget about, the importance of that and whatnot as well. And so a lot of stuff going on, but I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be here and to have a juice for today. All right, so here it is. Here's some juice. Yeah, what really matters, dealing with distractions. So again, I have a lot to talk about again, a lot of different things that I've been embarking on and experiencing as I step into, remember, no expectations 2025, no expectations of my own, right? So I got a lot of that to share with you guys as well. But when it comes to this conversation, what brought me to this is, I would say, a variety of things, honestly. But one thing that I think kind of nailed the coffin and to go ahead and have this conversation is an interaction that me and my husband had last night, y'all. I was like, I know this guy, sex, and love, so that could mean anything, right? But no. Well, one, you guys may know that we are participating in the church's 21 days of prayer and fasting. So today technically represents day 3. So yesterday was day 2. And I share with you guys, for those that pay attention to the things that we post in the community and that I share on my social media, stuff like that. I share with you guys in some photos and verbiage that basically the first day, a few days before that, I was led to create me a list of activities and things to do for 21 days of prayer, challenges for my own, journey. And then I just felt led to make one for my son as well, kid-friendly challenges to do for him, right? So as I was getting ready to do that with NJ on day 1, next thing I know, my husband seemed like he wanted his own list. So I'm like, okay, all right, I'll make you a list too, So now we all have our own individual list of challenges and activities to do throughout the 21 days of prayer. So that's one thing that's a beautiful experience. And I asked you guys if y'all wanted me to share that, and I didn't really get any feedback on that. So that's fine. We'll just keep it to ourselves. But I just want to let y'all know that that's one of the things that we're embarking on. alongside of my, challenge for myself to not go into 2025 with my own expectations. And I've already been challenged in a variety of ways regarding that. And I posted about that again in the community last week, I think it was. But anyway, so basically, one of my challenges, and I won't get too deep into, we all have like fasting challenges as well that we're doing individually. And try to remember. Yeah, and I have other things. I won't get into like details about all of my stuff, but basically one of my things is to focus on taking in godly content. So I'm trying to stop watching the shows I usually watch, that type of thing. Like I'm trying to read the Bible, just trying to study and go deeper about things of God, right? So when here come my husband last night, and he wants to show me some videos, I guess now this is how far removed I am from mainstream media. Okay, but I'm familiar with what he was talking about this whole rap beef that was going on between look, I'm saying the names wrong, Drake and what was it, Meek Mill, right? And I guess J. Cole was kind of in there, but not really, according to what I was receiving last night, right, about this. But anyway, so he's showing me videos. He's showing me like some of the music and whatnot. And obviously that ain't no godly content. So I know. I was already feeling convicted as we was taking that in last night. And I feel like God addressed it this morning too, y'all. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I had a dream. I had Bible verses that correlated to, I think it was 8:30 that I woke up this morning. So yeah, the Lord did, a little chastisement, but at the same time too, he revealed some things to me, to obviously come and talk to y'all about today. So basically, as I was watching and listening to my husband talk about, this beef that was going on and like how people was feeling about it and the commentary that people were doing and all this different type of stuff. Like I heard pieces of this stuff, I guess, as this stuff was happening throughout the years, because obviously I guess this is years of information. But at the same time, I kind of, again, I wasn't listening to the songs. I wasn't, engaging with whatever they were talking about with the rap beef. So my husband was, I guess, letting me know about some of that stuff and sharing some of the songs, and I guess he found it amusing. But at some point, I was like, this is so strange to me. Like so I was like, when did some of this stuff come out? It was like over the past few years, and we know all the crazy stuff that's been happening over the past few years. And if you don't know, then it's, I mean, there's a lot of crazy stuff happening politically. There's a lot of crazy stuff happening, just across the board, right? So more important, I believe, than a rap beef. But hey, you know what I'm saying? To each their own. But here's the thing. So I'm making observations, right, of these individuals that were so invested in this rap beef. And you might be one of them. No judgment. I'm just saying I made the observation, right? And so it was just very interesting to me that, like, I get it. You know what I'm saying? You are encouraged and inspired by the things you're encouraged and inspired by. But to me, as I looked at that, I'm like, all of this was just a distraction. And in my humble opinion, I guess the conspiracy theorist side of me at this point feel like that's like a manufactured distraction. But again, that's something else. We ain't got to get into that right now, right? Let's focus on, biblical things, right? So what I would say, even a spiritual, right, distraction of, from what though, right? From what? Why is it so important for us to stay distracted? Not according to the Lord, of course, but possibly according to our enemy, right? So I went deeper about all of that this morning. That's where the inspiration comes from. And so let's get into it. All right, so let's talk about the word distraction first. Distraction is a thing that prevents someone from giving full attention to something else. So, at that moment when I wrote down the definition this morning, I felt led to ask the question, why are we distracted or being distracted from God? Sometimes the distraction happens directly, because we choose to be distracted, right? But then we gotta admit that, obviously the enemy is doing his thing and distracting people as well. So why? Why is it so important for us to be distracted? Why is the enemy using this tactic of distraction? So I got some reasons, right, to help us understand what is happening and why. So if y'all want to write them down, feel free. If you want to just listen to them, I think it's like 7 reasons, but let's get into it, all right? So the first reason, friend, is to prevent us from fulfilling our purpose, period. To prevent us from Fulfilling our purpose. So, why is that important to the enemy? Well, if you're not fulfilling your purpose, then you're not, sharing the gospel, right? You're not growing spiritually. It goes on and on and on. If you don't know what your purpose is, all of these different things truly, truly matter in the grand scheme of things. When you look at the bigger picture, or when you seek the Lord for what his bigger picture is, right? But again, if we just focus on one individual person, why does this matter? Again, preventing us from fulfilling our purpose could have a huge impact, whether we know it or not. Not only on us and our lives, but on the lives of others. Like, I often think back on a lot of different things, but basically there was this quote that always motivated me, and I tried to share it to other people to hopefully encourage and inspire them to be motivated by it as well. But everybody has different perspectives, so it's motivating to me. I don't know if it's going to be motivating to you, but it's one of those quotes that say someone somewhere is waiting on you to do what God called you to do. Listen, I feel like everything that's happening here with GSL is an example of that. What did I start off with doing? I started off with doing this, the Juice, your daily dose of inspiration. Now, yes, it has been beneficial. It has been life-changing for me to do it every day, right? Every time I come here and share, I feel like I'm getting filled and pouring out at the same time. And it's a beautiful experience, right? And I don't know what impact that the juice has, but all I know is some fruit that I've seen from me starting this journey of daily Bible study, holding myself accountable to do daily Bible study, and then share it, right? Even though I know it's changed a little bit. I get it. I acknowledge that, right? It's not every day right now, but what I'm saying, when God had me started April 1st, 2020, and I was very consistent about doing it every day, I feel like the impacts that I know of, outside of the people there's a couple of people that I know that was kind of following every day, and stuff like that, because they would comment every day, or they would, like, for example, my mom and the gentleman over there in, Australia, Mr. Man, his name went away from my mind now. Oh my gosh. That's how far. Okay, Lord, are you trying to tell me I need to get back into daily inspiration? What was his name? I'm sorry if you're watching. Oh my gosh. His name went away from my mind. Ewan, oh my gosh, yes, Ewan over there in Australia. Him and my mom were like the most faithful juice watchers. So I don't know what impact it had on them, but all I know is that they, responded and were watching daily, right? So that's one thing. One thing I know that came from it is me creating this Bible study journal called The Juice. You know what I'm saying? 30-day challenge for other people. I know some people who have gotten it, and it said that they helped them, and whatnot. So that is something that I know of that it has impacted. Who knows what else, right? My obedience and me finding the purpose that God had for me to start doing this and being on this platform and all this different type of stuff is doing and has been doing. But again, I hope all of this is encouraging and inspiring you to understand that, again, your walking in your purpose isn't just for you, right? It's for the other people that you can impact in your circle of influence. So again, of course, the enemy wants to distract us from fulfilling our purpose, because if we're not fulfilling our purpose, then we're not making an impact. All right, that might be Pope. Y'all might not like that, but let me go and give you the next one. Number 2, to keep us from drawing closer to God. Now, that's probably the first thing, honestly. Again, a lot of us are questioning if there is a God. A lot of us is questioning, every aspect. So how can we draw near, right, if we are distracted, right? So, yeah, now why would he want to keep us from drawing near to God? Well, obviously, God has created us with purpose, so that goes back to the purpose conversation. But also because, again, if we know that we have God and we know that God loves us regardless and all the beautiful things that having a relationship with God gives us, then, obviously, again, that makes an impact on how you live your life, how you interact with people, the things you do, all of this type of stuff. And so, again, being distracted, from a relationship with the Lord, obviously has a big impact on you as an individual. But then again, going back to that first one, the impact that you can have on others. So I ain't got nothing too much to add to that, so let me go ahead and give you number 3, and that is to keep us from being effective witnesses. Again, it's not all about you. I'm reminded of my son in this moment. It never fails. If somebody is talking about something, he is always asking the question, what about me, right? What about or what about, and there's sometimes I've literally have told him, like, son, it ain't all about you. It honestly, it would probably be beneficial for you to understand that it's all about Jesus at the end of the day. Right. Basically, yeah, man, it's just it's just very interesting to observe him and his reaction to life, right? But again, he's a child, and I think we all are that way to a certain extent. But hopefully at some point we start to mature, right, and to grow and to understand that, you know what, there's a bigger purpose in life beyond just me, right? And obviously I can have influence and an impact on the world by being an effective witness. Now, again, here's yours truly. I'm trying my best to do my part, right? And I guess this is the way that the Lord is leading me to do it, right? But I mean, again, can we think about ways that we could be of impact for other people in their life, but instead we're distracted by whatever it is, again, whether it's your own ideas, right? Or whether it's a rap beef that, I mean, no, again, I get it, man. Look, my background is in theater, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have a joy and appreciation for entertainment. I'm not sitting here trying to be like, oh, don't get entertainment or whatever the case may be. But, I mean, should we let that affect our entire life? Like, basically, the other day, one of those moments I was getting poured into, I was listening to the Bible Project, and they were talking about Ecclesiastes and how that author, often referred to different aspects of life being like vapor and meaningless and all this type of stuff. And yeah, at the end of the day, like, what really matters? Like, does that matter? Like, does that truly impact you in your life? You know what I'm saying? Like, what? Or does it matter to study the Word of God and share that and let people know that, hey, Jesus is real. He has done something that impacts everyone and is for everyone. It doesn't matter if you're male, female. It doesn't matter how you grew up. It doesn't matter about any of those things. He has created a way for us to have a relationship with God. Like, which is more meaningful and impactful? I mean, I don't know. You guys can think about that and pray about that on your own. I got more examples of what this distraction does and why it's important. So here's another one. Number 4 is to keep us in a state of confusion. Ooh, listen, okay. If we're not in a state of confusion, look, the Temptation said ball of confusion, I don't know how many years ago, right? And we're still in that. Who knows? We're probably even more confused today than we probably ever have been, or humanity probably have been. Like, and it's so interesting because we have access to so much information, probably more than anybody in human history, right? But at the same time, we the most confused generation. Like, again, it's all around us. I mean, if maybe people don't see that. I was gonna say, man, oh yeah, everybody sees it, but no, I guess maybe everybody don't see that. But I mean, for those that do, let's pray, right? Let's pray for those that don't, because again, people are confused about who they are. People are confused about, and again, all of these things truly come from the Lord when you really get down to it. Like, what really matters is that God has created you in your identity and your purpose, and so He wants you to walk in those things that He's created for you. But again, we have free will and we can choose not to do that all the time, right? So at the end of the day, here we are, like, walking through life and confused about simple stuff today. You know what I mean? I feel like, now I don't know, maybe people were confused about, some of this stuff years ago, because again, there's nothing new under the sun. But I mean, I feel like in today's time, like, is anybody else out there seeing that it seems like a lot of people are confused about just basics? Do I need to call the basics out? I don't know. Y'all can let me know if I need to call them out and if y'all don't know what I'm talking about. But I mean, it's a lot of little stuff. I do see some comments here, but I gotta stay focused unless y'all are referring to what I'm talking about right now. So let me keep going. Do, 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 do. To keep from experiencing peace and joy. This is number 5. To keep from experiencing peace and joy. If we're confused, if we're doubting, if we're living in fear, then we are not experiencing and living in joy and the peace that God has created for us. We're not, you know, again, it fulfills me to feel as if I'm walking in my purpose by doing this, by working at the church, by, working with my son, like being a wife, like all these things fulfill me in ways where it's like, it gives me peace and joy, right? To be walking in these things and feel as if I'm walking in my purpose. Now, times when I wasn't walking in my purpose and times when I was distracted, y'all know I often tell y'all about it, but yep, during the cultivation period, in my single days, for example, one of the most frustrating things was feeling like, okay, I achieved that goal, I achieved this goal, I did this and I did that, and I still would feel like something is missing, something ain't right. Something, I would still be feeling that emptiness. And obviously I grew to understand that was my relationship with the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ that needed to be cultivated, right? So to God be the glory for that. But at that time I didn't know what it was. So I was like, is it love? Is it relationships? Is it the fact that I haven't gotten married yet and all this different type of stuff? And that's what impacted or started my journey of, I guess, now what you guys are experiencing, GSL, that's led to me writing my book, all that different type of stuff. But the thing is, the confusion, the fear, the distractions are pretty much keeping us from experiencing the peace and joy that God has for us. Number 6 is I was writing real crazy this morning. I should show y'all my chicken scratch. This is what I have to try to interpret as I read to y'all. So I'm sorry. I know I need to do better with this. I know my mama is shaking her head and say but let me try to see what I wrote down. I say to something us from realizing the power of prayer. I don't know what that word is that I wrote, but pretty much I would just say in this moment to keep us, from realizing the power of prayer. This is something I feel like the Lord wants me to address, and hopefully I'll have some content coming soon about this. I've been, y'all know that I've been on this journey, at least if you've been following me for a while. Basically, you guys know last year I've started trying to become more intentional about giving God my concerns and stuff first, because I'm like, look, I tend to go to mentors and people that give me advice, and then I go to the Lord. I'm like, nah. So last year I've been trying to go to God first with my prayers and concerns. But over the year, as I was doing that, I started to feel as if, and I believe the revelation that I was receiving is that it was important for me to speak and pray things out loud as well. I know we can pray in a variety of ways, and you may not always be in a situation where you can pray out loud, right? But there is power in prayer, and I would say even praying out loud. So I'm going to be working on some content centered around that real soon to hopefully encourage and inspire you and help you with this. Because I know sometimes it's hard because it's like we don't know what to pray sometimes too, right? So I've been going deeper about that. And so whenever I'm thinking about a particular issue and stuff, I'm like, okay, well, help me, to pray about this thing right now. Like, what can I say about my situation right now? And I feel like that has been encouraging and inspiring for me. So I want to share that with you guys. And so that content is coming soon. But yes, friends, again, if we are distracted, right, then we are not seeing, acknowledging, and operating in the power of prayer. And so, I don't have too much to add to that. I could go deeper about that in a variety of ways, but Lord, is there anything you want me to say about that in prayer? Okay, so one thing, if you have been following, basically, you know that towards the end of last year, one of the things that I was doing is listening to this school, I guess you would say, going through this prophetic school that Kim Clement's ministry does. And it was very good for me. I feel like it was very on time for me as well. And it was very interesting because each day that I would listen, I wouldn't listen every day, but the days that I did listen, I felt like it went hand in hand with whatever I was thinking about and going through. So, and then even I think I pretty much wrapped up listening to it on New Year's Eve, which was very impactful as well for me. But anyway, in the midst of listening to the different courses that he did and about the prophetic and whatnot, Obviously he ended up talking about prayer and again, speaking over our life, making declarations. Like when God gives us visions, which I believe we talked about visions not long ago, but if not, go back and look at that juice that I talked about, what to do with your visions or whatever case may be, or writing a vision. Now what? Something like that. That was the juice that I talked about. But anyway, when God gives us visions, and yes, okay, write it down, but sometimes we got to, declare and speak those visions out over our life so we can see them come to fruition. So that was one of the things that I was receiving as I was taking that course. But yeah, man, again, this is another example and testament to the power of prayer. Okay, so let me keep going, friends. I think we're almost about to wrap up this particular list. But ultimately, all right, here it is. It's that pulp. Y'all might not like to hear this, but the main reason for distractions is to lead us into sin. At the end of the day, if you're distracted, you can easily be influenced and led to sin. Obviously, we know that can make an impact on our life in a variety of ways. And so, yeah, ultimately, all of these distractions are leading us to sin. And sin, obviously, again, the Bible has told us that sin leads towards death. And death is the opposite of life, which is what Christ gives, right? Which is what God is all about, according to the Bible, right? And so, again, distractions, right? Is it worth it at the end of the day? What really matters? That is the question. What really, really matters? I hope this helps us, man. I hope this helps us understand, I guess, why we're being distracted. But I ain't gonna leave y'all there. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna leave y'all there. I'm gonna give y'all some Bible. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give y'all hopefully some encouragement and inspiration, because that's what the juice is about, right? So let me share with you guys the verses that were standing out to me. Proverbs 4:25. It says, "Let your eyes look directly forward and your gaze be straight before you." At the end of the day, again, we know that the enemy is trying to distract us in a variety of ways. We got temptations, we got fears, we got doubts, we got all these distractions, right? But at the end of the day, God is telling us to look forward. Look at him. Pay attention to, his plan, his direction, his way. There's a lot that I could sit here and say right now, man. But I was kind of reminded of, I don't know if it was the prophecy course or at some point, basically I was reminded that God, he may not show us details about the full picture of our life and, and what it's going to do and all that type of stuff, but he'll show you a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there to get us walking on the path. Because sometimes if we see the whole thing, we might not do it. If we get the whole vision and everything like that, we might not walk forward into his plan and what he wants us to do. And we got to understand that each step, right? Each thing matters, right? Each thing can have an impact, not only again on you, but on your life. Like, I look back at my life and I know that, like, there are some crazy things that I've been through, right? There are things that I call debacles where I'm like, when I was going through them, I'm like, man, Lord, why am I going through this, right? But at the end of the day, I know those particular things have led to the most beautiful things that I am living and experiencing today. So for me, I know people go back and they're like, oh, well, what would you change in your life? Or would you do that? No, I can't. I can't change those things because that led me to be who I am and to be where I am today. So even when I think back on, yes, the things like being molested as a young child, like, know that who wants to experience that? I am definitely trying to keep my son away from things of that nature. But I would say that ultimately that thing, as well as having a mother that was instilling values and Jesus and all these things into me, has led me to be here today with this platform of God, Sex, and Love, with all the things that God has done with me, for me, and through me, in spite of that testimony of quote unquote being molested. Now again, I'm not sitting here trying to make light of what happened, you know what I mean, but I thank God that it wasn't worse, right? It could definitely be worse. And we know, again, those that know about Allie's story and all this different type of stuff, y'all know that it could definitely be worse. Like for me, if you follow the platform, if you don't know, just in case. Long story short, with my situation again, I just was introduced to kissing and touching at an age that I should not have been, right? You should not know how to romantically kiss and touch nobody at 3 or 4. You know what I'm saying? So my situation wasn't that bad. You know what I'm saying? I didn't grow up with like trauma, right? But I did grow up with like confusion, right? I did grow up with like desires that I shouldn't have been having, you know, and things like that. And obviously that impacted me in my life. But would I change that? Probably not. Why? Because here I am today, right? Doing the will of God, I believe, and walking in my purpose because of those moments, and God turned that thing around. Now, again, I'm not making light and saying that people don't need to, you know what I'm saying, don't do stuff to kids, but that's a whole nother conversation, friends. I'm talking about purpose, right? I'm talking about, you know, things of that nature. But let me keep going, because let's not be distracted. Don't be distracted by my testimony, y'all. Let's get back to what I'm talking about. Let me give you guys another verse. 1 Peter 5:8. It says, "Be sober-minded, be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaming lion, seeking someone to devour." You know, I don't know why we play around with this entity. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, you know, even as I was reflecting on those different reasons why we're being distracted, it's, if you notice, all of them was saying to keep you from this and to keep you from that and to keep you from this. So all the beautiful things, it's like, basically the enemy don't want us to have none of that. He just want us to sin, fall short, and not have none of the beautiful things that God has created for us, or the way that he made for us, and different things like that. Like, at the end of the day, if you see, I guess, how much he hates us, or, well, he hates God so much that he affects us, or whatever the case may be. And I'm not trying to give him no power, because he don't have none. But what I'm saying is that, why walk in that? Why allow that thing to get you in a place where you're going to just be suffering with him? According to the Bible, now, if we talk about Bible and what it say, it pretty much say that, you know, obviously the devil has already been defeated, and he's going to be cast into the fire and whatnot, alongside all the people that he led astray, and them angels that he led astray, and all of that as well. Like, why would I want that? Why would I want that in any capacity? So, I mean, you know, again, Christ made a way for all of us to be in relationship with God and have all this other beautiful stuff that, again, the enemy is trying to distract us from having. So, I mean, even that should hopefully encourage us and inspire us to not go that way. But I know, you know, we're living life, and we're not, some of us is not thinking about any of this at all. So, and we maybe don't believe it's real. I don't know. Everybody has free will to do with what they, you know, will, or whatever the case may be. But all I'm saying, if you're listening to the sound of my voice today, I hope you're encouraged and inspired to at least go deeper about these things. Read these things for yourself. Seek the Lord, pray, and figure out, you know, what really matters at the end of the day. What is it that really matters? And how can you help yourself when it comes to these distractions here? You know, again, dealing with the distractions. I think I got one more verse that I felt led to write down, and it was Proverbs 5:1. It says, "My son, be attentive to my wisdom. Incline your ear to my understanding." At the end of the day, this was what I feel like God is you know, asking us to do at all times. Like, he's out here saying, hey, focus on me. Stay, like that first verse says, that keep, I don't want to misquote it. Let's go back to that first verse, y'all. "Let your eyes look directly forward, and your gaze be strength before you." Again, if we're focused on the things of the Lord, and if we're walking in that, then let's talk about what we get. And I'm just going to say that. I'm going to say it based on what we know that distractions are preventing. Then friends, we're going to get the opportunity to fulfill our purpose. We're going to get the opportunity to draw closer to God. We're going to get the opportunity to be effective witness. We're going to get the opportunity to not live in the confusion and doubt. We're going to get the opportunity to keep experiencing the peace and joy that God has for us. And we are going to realize that we have power in prayer. And then we don't have to worry about sin. Now, sin is inevitable. We're going to do it. All right. You know, it's part of our human life. But the thing is, there's a difference between living a lifestyle of sin and you know, all of that, and you know, falling short and stuff like that. So sin is something that we don't have to worry about if we are focused on God and doing his will, his way. And I mean, that's ultimately the juice this morning, y'all. I mean, I don't know, I said a lot, but y'all ain't seen your girl in a few minutes. So, you know, But yeah, man, that's ultimately the juice. I did feel it. So for the go deeper section today, there are some questions, some prompts, some things to ask yourself about your own life. I'm going to read it, but if you guys want to go ahead and just take a look in the show notes or the go deeper section, or write it down if you're listening to me, if you feel led to do so. But these are the questions. Ask yourself these things, and hopefully this will help you when it comes to this conversation. So question number 1 is, are you prioritizing your relationship with God above all else? And how can you make more time for him daily? So ask yourself that question. Answer that question truthfully for yourself. That's question number 1. Question number 2, what are the biggest distractions in my life right now? How can I minimize? How can I minimize or remove them to focus more on what matters? So that's question number 2. And then question number 3, again, I know I'm going through it, but they're written down. They're typed out already for y'all. Just go to the show notes, okay? But anyway, what does it mean for me to seek first God's kingdom, and how can I do that more intentionally in my daily life? So let's reflect on those questions. It's probably more like 6 questions, but reflect on those questions. Hopefully they encourage you and inspire you on, how to deal with distractions, and hopefully help you understand what truly matters. And like I said, that is the juice. Now the Bible verse of today is Acts 8:35. It says, then Philip opened his mouth and began at the same scripture and preached unto him Jesus. Friends, I hope you guys enjoy this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration and juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all whenever the Lord brings me back, y'all. If the Lord's will. Bye-bye.